So I've got a question for you. As you sip your coffee, it's going to make it really easy for you to answer. No. So this upcoming Sunday is Palm Sunday.
Yep.
What is Palm Sunday and why does it matter?
Palm Sunday, the reason why it matters is it kind of marks the beginning of what's called Passion Week in the Christian faith, but in particular, Passion Week, that really Jesus was coming back into Jerusalem from his earthly ministry. And I believe it's Matthew chapter 21. The other gospel accounts record it, but I've most recently been studying Matthew. So I think it's around Matthew 21, the triumphal entry, when Jesus is making his way back into Jerusalem, kind of from his itinerant ministry where he's traveling from place to place. Well, he is coming back to Jerusalem, and this triumphal entry where Jesus is riding on a donkey and people are waving palm branches and they're saying, Hosanna, this is the Son of David. They're really kind of attesting to who he is. And so what's so interesting is he's riding into town, and crowds are chanting his name and crying out to his name and celebrating that he's here. And then the week begins, and by the end of the week, Jesus is dead. He's, spoiler alert, he's dead. And by the beginning of the next week, the first day of the week, Jewish days are kind of weird. And so if you really dig into how they split up their days and what the beginning of the first day of the week is and all that kind of stuff, that's a whole other conversation. By the end of the week, he's dead, but by the beginning of the next week, Jesus is risen from the dead. And so Palm Sunday is just, Christians recognize that the week before the resurrection, which is the Sunday before Good Friday and Resurrection Sunday. Christians recognize that day as a pretty significant moment in the life of the church and obviously in the life of Christ. So that's what's kind of going on.
Okay. Is there anything specific that somebody should do on Palm Sunday or for Palm Sunday? Is it
go to church? Yeah, just go to.
That's it.
Yeah,
just go to church.
Go to church
because it's Palm Sunday.
Well, every Sunday, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, if you were to ask me at any time, I'd say yeah, Sunday. Historically, Christians have gathered on this day of the week. They've not stayed home by themselves and done whatever they think is most spiritual. They come together with the people of God and they worship the risen Savior. And so Palm Sunday for us today is also joined with the fact that Jesus is still risen. So yeah, we are going back to a time prior to the death and resurrection of Jesus to celebrate, to acknowledge that on this day he rode into Jerusalem. And on that particular day in history, though he had not died and risen again, anytime we celebrate anything today, it's always with the reality in mind that Jesus has died and he's risen. And so that's kind of the interesting part of the way the church worships today. We do talk about the week leading up to Jesus' death, but every single Sunday we're able to proclaim his death and resurrection. And we do that through teaching, and we do that through taking communion together. As often as you do this, the scriptures say, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes. And so we do proclaim that every Sunday, but that's what the significance of Palm Sunday is. It kind of marked the week that Jesus, kind of his homecoming before he went to the cross.
Okay. So you said really the only thing to do is go to church. There's nothing special.
Right.
So would it be fair for those who don't normally go to church and they're curious now? You said it's like Jesus' homecoming. So would it be fair to kind of equate this to like Super Bowl week? So if you go to the Super Bowl, you're still going to a football game, but it's just the big
It's the big
end
event,
of season.
right?
It's
Yeah.
the big event.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes to church on Palm Sunday,
Yeah.
should they be prepared for anything different or come with anything? Or is it really just like the big event, a big event this year? That's kind of like
Yeah.
other football games or
Right.
other weeks.
Right. It is most certainly a big and remarkable event.
Okay.
On one, you got this tension. On one hand, this Sunday should be pretty ordinary. in the life of the church. Because again, every Sunday we don't just say this to be silly. Every Sunday is Resurrection Sunday. Every Sunday is, back before the Jews would worship on a particular day of the week, and after Christ's resurrection, this thing that was so ingrained in the people of God, they began worshiping on the day that correlated with Christ's resurrection. Yeah. So on one hand, the Sundays around Easter and even the Sunday on Easter is an ordinary Sunday, but I would also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that it is a significant time. I mean, we do what a wonderful time to celebrate. We all celebrate things, and so it is a day that we commemorate and a day that we celebrate in maybe a unique way. The death and the resurrection of Christ and what he's done for us. So do you think somebody who doesn't normally come to a church, since you said go to church, would this be acceptable for him to just show up? Oh yeah, it's a wonderful time. If you haven't been to church in a long time, if you've never been to church, let me just invite you in particular on the Sundays around Easter. So come on, join us.
All right. With that, I'd say, hey, come on out to Grace Harbor for Palm Sunday, Easter Sunday, or any Sunday. We'd be happy to see you there. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Come see us.
All right. Thanks, Pastor.
Yep.